everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Turnips to Tangerines. And I'm sure you can tell by the ingredients I have out here what we're going to be making. We have chili sauce and we have grape jelly. And what do the two make together? Grape jelly meatballs. Ooh, that almost fell and that would have been a mess. So today we are going to be making grape jelly meatballs, and I have all of this is homemade jam, grape jam that I made, not last summer, but the summer before. And I picked the grapes. My husband and I went grape picking, and this particular type of jelly is made with, I think they're called bluebell grapes, and we also made, or I also made, some jam made with Concord grapes. And we picked them at, he's located, he doesn't have a website or anything. I just found the ad on Marketplace, on Facebook Marketplace at that time. It was in September, and he wanted to get rid of some grapes. He uses them for wine, etc., etc. And he's located right before you get to Black Creek in Black Creek, right outside of Appleton. What the heck is the name of that highway? Well, anyway, I'll figure all that out in a little bit, and I'll have everything down below in the description box below. But we went and picked grapes, and it was a lot easier than I had thought it was going to be. You just take a little clippers and clip off the grapes. And I came home and I made a lot of grape jelly. And we already went through the Concord grape jelly. That was our favorite, but this is also good. It's a little lighter, but that's what I'm going to be using. Normally you would use like Welch's, how do you say that? Welch's grape jelly. A great big bottle of it. Now it comes in bottles. It used to come in glass, but now it's bottles. Or you can use any, brand of grape jelly you want. Normally with the chili sauce, I try to stick with the Heinz chili sauce. I do prefer it, but I have made grape jelly meatballs with this kind already. This is from Aldi, and they turned out fine. So I didn't want to run around, so I just picked this up at Aldi, and like I said, I've used it before. I prefer the Heinz chili sauce, but this works in a pinch. The difference between this recipe and the recipe that you normally make for grape jelly meatballs is this recipe I'm going to be using venison instead of ground beef. I'm going to be using a little bit of ground beef, but the majority of the meat will be venison. I have never made grape jelly meatballs with packaged meatballs before. I know my daughter has a lot, and I find those rather, what's the word for it? They taste kind of spongy. They taste like little sponges to me. I don't like them. I think they're terrible. Sorry, whatever company makes those, but I don't care for them. So I've never made them with those. So I've always made my own meatballs. They're easy to make. They, sure, it's easier to open up a can or a package of meatballs and dump them. Okay, the first step to making our grape jelly meatballs, venison grape jelly meatballs, is to empty all of our ingredients into the crock pot. I like to make up my meatballs and brown them, and I will do that in the next step. And then I like to, while those are browning, I like to plug in my sauce ingredients so that when I add the meatballs, they've had an hour or so to get going here. And I always make them in the crock pot here. Okay, that's the first bottle of chili sauce. And we have a second bottle of chili sauce. Just gonna do this number. And don't throw those out quite yet, your bottles. We're going to add a little water to those. But the first thing we're going to do is add all of our grape jelly here. And I'm just going to take my little spatula and plop it in. And as you can see here, scoop around and let it plop in. A lot of grape jelly, but not really, because these aren't that big of a container. So you just kind of scoop around, drop it in. And, oh, that smells good already. Whew, yeah. And we're going to keep adding this. Yeah, we're almost done here. And that is going to be really good. I just know it. Oh, like I said, I made this jelly, going on, it'll be 2 summers ago. Well, 2 falls, I should say. It'll be 2 years in this fall. So, it's still nice and good. Holding up well. And there we go. Plop that in. Push it down a little bit. And I'm just going to add water to this little jar here. And then we are just going to kind of go back and forth here and get everything out of the inside. I always do this because you do get a lot left over in there, so keep pushing it around till you get it all out. There we go. And that's it for the sauce ingredients. Real quick, real fast. Add that. Come on. There. There we go. And that's it for the sauce. I'm going to go plug this in. And then I'm going to start on my venison meatballs. Our next step in making the grape jelly meatballs is to make the meatballs. In this bowl, I have roughly 4 pounds of ground venison, which is right here, and then I have about 1 pound of ground beef, and that's just to add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of texture to it. I'm just going to kind of mix this all together. Your hands are the best way to do this. And I'm just going to mix this all in first. And this is very, very lean. Venison is very lean. Even ground venison is just, you know, it's a very lean cut of meat. That's why it's, you know, actually very good for you in many ways. Hamburger, our ground beef, and our venison lightly mixed together. And because the ground beef that we get from our butcher is very, very, very lean also. So what I'm going to do is just add a little tiny bit of oil to the mix here, just to give it a little tiny bit of extra oil in it. And I'm going to just move you down a tad. There we go. Just a tad here. So I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of the grapeseed oil. You can use olive oil, vegetable oil, or you don't have to add any at all. But I do know that my ground beef and the venison is lean. So I'm going to add just a little bit to give it a little bit of oil. So when I fry them up, they aren't, you know, they don't totally burn up. And then I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm just going to add that in. Just like making regular meatballs, I always make homemade meatballs. So this is just a recipe that I've always used. No particular, you know, really recipe to it. Just add stuff I like. And this is like 2 to 3 cloves of garlic minced. And then I have a small white onion, or you can use a sweet onion, or even red if you wanted to, if that's all you had. Chopped fine. Ooh, and that is a strong onion. And then I have some mini peppers to add some color. And I'm just going to add, it might look like, well, are you really going to add all this? Yeah, I am, because you know what, when you make meatballs, a lot of this tends to fall out, and you have, you know, yeah, sometimes I have at the bottom of the bowl, you know, half a thing of all my vegetables are at the bottom. They don't always mix in real well, so that's why I always add extra when I make meatballs. And then I'm going to add just a couple squirts. I don't even, you know, really measure. Ooh, let me add that. I just kind of squirt it in. Yeah. You could add even a little bit of barbecue sauce would taste good in this. In fact, I might go get some and add a little bit. And of course, we got to add a little hot sauce. Shake it up first. And just start, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There we go. Like I said, these are for my husband, mainly. And he loves hot sauce. And he likes things hot. That's why he likes me. Well, maybe 30 years or 50 years ago when we met in high school, I might have been hot back then, but not anymore. Oh well. Yeah. Here's some salt, just a little bit of kosher salt. And I'm going to add a little bit of chipotle pepper. Believe it or not, I have no black pepper. I don't know where it is or what happened, but I don't have any. So this should take care of it. Just sprinkle on a little bit. These are going to be on the spicy side, so if you like things spicy, you will like these. So I'm going to do that. And this is a little bit of smoky paprika. I find this at the Piggly Wiggly in Pound, Wisconsin. It's the only place I've ever found it up here. I'm sure in bigger cities, and I don't even have it open here. So I got to do that too here. Wow. Whoa. Well, you know what? This is when your scissors come in handy. There you go. Ooh, wow. I really like this. It adds a nice smoky, oh boy, it's really nice. It's a nice smoky flavor. It's wonderful on deviled eggs and anything like that. Oh, it just adds a nice smokiness. So I'm going to add quite a bit of that. Not a lot, but enough. There. Like I said, this is just something I kind of whipped together myself. Whoa. And this is just some Keen's mustard that I like to add because it also adds a little kick to it. There's not much left in here. I'm going to have to get hold of my girlfriend in Canada and say, send me some mustard. I might be visiting there this year, so I'll probably bring sauce. Just a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. About 20 little. Before, I just bought it. It's by the Tabasco company. It's the original barbecue sauce flavor. And I've not used it. I don't even know what it tastes like, so I'm going to try it out. Oh. You know, I have to wear gloves around when my hands are in bad shape, which they are this time of year. And I'll tell you, I don't know how people work with these gloves on, because I couldn't do it all day long, you know. Doctors and things, nurses and things, oh my God. I suppose you get used to them, but, huh. Okay, so first of all, let's take a peek at this. Okay. And there we go. Now, I'm going to add 1 pack of, 1 sleeve, I guess they call it. Excuse me, that little bit of barbecue sauce down my throat. Ooh, of Ritz crackers here. You can use Townhouse crackers. You can use, you know, the reject, I shouldn't say reject, the off-brand of crackers. Whatever, but use a nice buttery cracker. You could even use like a club cracker would work for this. And I just go like this and smush them up and add them here. You don't want, you know, chunks this big, but you don't want them totally small either. You want to be able to have a little bit of crumbs in there. And I have another sleeve ready here in case I need it, because you never know. But 1 sleeve is a good start for this much meat. And here we go. And then you just, ooh, smush it up. And there's the, there, the egg is in there. And we have all the spices, and we gotta smoosh it all together. And I am making, as you can probably see, a nice double batch, or even a triple batch here. if all of the meatballs don't go good into my, you know, don't fit good in my crock pot, I'll just save them up and my husband can take them to work with them and, you know, eat them on the road, as they say. And he can eat them on the road and he can make a sandwich or do whatever he wants with them. Add a little spaghetti sauce. Yeah, that's nice here. And I think I might add, I think I'm gonna need that extra sleeve here. I think so. Oh, there goes my glove. Yeah, I think so. One extra sleeve here. Ooh, whoa, wow. There, I think so. That'll work. Smoosh it around. Now, I got my hands all dirty. I should have opened it up right away, but I didn't. So, there you go. Make sure I don't have the paper in there. So I think I'm going to end up using both sleeves here. And that's fine. There is a lot of meat in this bowl, so that is the reason for that. And then after I mix the crackers in, after I do that, I like to let it sit for about, 15 minutes. I like to just let everything sit on the cupboard here, all the ingredients, you know, the meat sit, and just kind of let everything get all absorbed in. Let the crackers do their thing and the spices and all that kind of thing. You can even at this point, if you really want to, what you can do, and I've done this before too, is you, after you let it rest for about 15 minutes, you take, you know, take your mixture here and you make your meatballs, however many you can get out of here, it doesn't matter, you know, 25, whatever, it doesn't matter, and you put them on a cookie sheet or a baking sheet that's lined with like parchment paper or wax paper or, you know, foil, whatever. And you place them in your freezer, and when they're frozen, you put them in a baggie and you got meatballs ready. For the next time you want to make grape jelly meatballs or spaghetti and meatballs or whatever. So that's another tip. That's kind of a recipe tip here. And after I let this sit, I'll show you that too. So this is all mixed up good. It looks good. Everything's mixed nicely. And we, oh, here's a big old cracker. Yeah, see, that's another thing too. It lets you kind of check things out here. And this looks really good. This is mixed nice. It looks like it's going to hold together good. Everything seems to be in order, and we are going to let you sit. And I'm going to let this sit for about, like I said, 15 minutes. My meat mixture has been sitting for roughly 15 minutes, but before I start making the meatballs and putting them in my pan and browning them up, I'm going to give you a little recipe tip here that I talked about before. What you do is you line, well, I just happen to have this sitting on the cupboard, so I use this pan. It's just a 13 by 9 baking dish, 3-quart, whatever. And the reason why I grabbed this also is because I knew I wasn't going to be freezing that many meatballs. Otherwise, you can line a baking sheet or anything that, you know, will let these meatballs lie flat. So what you do is you take a little scoopful, and I just, you know, scoop it with my hands, and you form them into some meatballs. Any size, any size you like. I kind of go for the, medium to large size meatballs, and you kind of squish them down good. And then you just set them there, and you just fill your pan up with meatballs, which I'm going to do. And you kind of, you know, do this number. I think most people, this is what I was saying when half of the time the vegetables do fall out, and they do. So, and I don't try to get them all scooped back in. And here, you just keep on making your little meatballs here. I'll just quickly line this pan up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss this into the freezer and let the meatballs freeze real good. And then when I'm done, after they're done and they're frozen and they're frozen solid, I kind of make sure they're really frozen because you don't want to, you know, stick together when you put them in your little Ziploc baggie. Ziploc, a baggie, not baby, baggie. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make these up. And like I said, I'm just going to make up a few here because the rest of these are going to go in my crock pot. And once they're frozen, solid, I'm going to take them out of the freezer and I'm going to put them into a Ziploc baggie, oh, you know, or whatever. You can even put them in a container. Sometimes an ice cream container, old ice cream pail works fine too. I always save those. And sometimes those work really well too, if depending upon how many you're going to make. And then you just, you know, like I said, once they're frozen solid, you put them in your baggie, your freezer baggie, and the next time you want to make grape jelly meatballs or you want to have spaghetti and meatballs, your meatballs will already be frozen in your freezer and you don't have to worry about, uh-oh, I gotta go through all this headache of making meatballs. And instead of going to the store and buying the bagged ones, because it's easier, you'll already have your homemade meatballs waiting for you in your freezer. And that's the tip for today. Have a good day. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a little scoop out. And I like my balls big, so that's how I make them. I don't like these little balls, so... yeah. My husband mentioned that he was going to make a hamburger with the venison. And he mentioned that he didn't think that the venison stuck together very well. He said he had a little bit of trouble keeping his hamburger together to make a patty with. And I said, well, I don't know. I don't think there should be any, you know, I don't know what the problem would be. And he said, well, they're just not staying together. And I said, well, when I make, you know, meatballs, I don't have a problem with that. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the crackers that I use or maybe the egg or just the whole mixture together. But, I don't know. I don't have any problem keeping these balls, you know, intact here. So I don't know why his burgers weren't holding together. Maybe you should add some crackers next time. I don't know, but I'm not having any problems here forming these balls. I don't know, maybe he's never played with balls before. Oh, well, maybe he has. I don't know for sure. Whatever. I might have to cut that out. Well, yeah. Anyhow, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just forming this meat mixture into balls. And like I said, I don't like, you know, the little ones for grape jelly meatballs. I mean, it's hard to brown them up also when they are smaller like that. So I don't know. I tend to make them a little on the larger side. And that's the way I like them. If you don't like them that way, you can make them smaller. That's okay. I mean, you could like make half of this size and then, you know, you could do that also. I mean, this would be probably the size of maybe you would want for the grape jelly meatballs, which is fine, you know. But I kind of like them the bigger size. This way they don't take as long, you know. I don't know. It doesn't take as long to make them all. If you want smaller balls, you go right ahead and make them small. I prefer, my pan seems to be sliding off this oven or this burner. I don't know what is with this pan, but I am not happy with it. Check the brand out of it. But I prefer the balls a little on the bigger side. So you make your balls the way you like them. I prefer them a little larger, but actually, you know, they kind of are all different sizes in here. So, and I'm going to continue onward, continue on making balls, frying them up, and this is what they look like in the pan. And as you can see, they're not really all uniform size. They're kind of all different sizes. And that's great, you know. Want a little diversity in your balls. So I will be back. I'm gonna keep browning and keep forming my balls and browning them. And I will be back in a little bit and I will show you what we do after these are brown. And I'll be back in about a half hour, roughly. Okay? See you then. I'm just going to be doing balls here. Good. Okay, and you don't want to keep turning them over and things like that. They fall apart that way. And so you're better off just slowly, you know, letting them brown and turning them over as carefully as you possibly can. And like that. See, and they will get brown, and kind of just, you know, you can do it with you can use your fingers for the first time around, but then after that you got to kind of check it out and use your tongs. So you just keep watching them and letting them, you know, get good and brown on one side. I have like a hot spot in the middle of this pan, so that's the reason why it looks a little brown in the middle, which is okay for the ones on the outside here. And you just keep kind of slowly moving them around. Like I said, you don't want to be flipping them around and moving them around and all that kind of stuff, because then they will become very, you know, fragile. And you don't want that, because you want to be able to get them in your grape jelly and chili mixture in your crock pot without falling apart. So right now I'm just going to keep browning them, and when they're all done I will show you what we do next. They are browning nicely. I'm having a little problem with this pan, but other than that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing right now. And then you just kind of, I also like to just press down on them a little tiny bit, just to make sure they're okay. My first batch of meatballs are done. I have probably another batch or two to go. Another important thing to remember when you're making meatballs of any kind, it's best to fry them in batches. You know, like how many are here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. About 18 to a pan or 12 to a pan, depending on the size of your pan. And cook them slowly. And like I said, don't turn them over a lot. And you always can tell when your meatballs are done. Is a good test is, whoop, let me move this down here just a little bit. A good test is just to, I call it the finger test. You know, to see if they're like that, you pretty much can tell they're done inside. Not totally done inside, but they're done enough that you can put them into your sauce mixture here. You can just tell. They just become firm to the touch like that, and that's a good indication that they are done and ready to go, ready to be put into your grape jelly and chili sauce mixture in your crock pot, which I do have it on high right now. And this is what the meatballs look like, and they turn out really good. They smell really well, and they smell yummy. I've probably, like I said, got 2 more batches to go. So my husband might be having some meatballs for supper, because I don't think I'm going to be getting them all in there. Plus, I do have my batch in my freezer yet, too, that are still freezing before I put them into my baggie. So now I was just taking my little wire whisk here, and I was just whisking up my mixture in here. Some of my jelly that I used my homemade grape jelly, was still in quite a big chunk, so this just kind of lets it dissolve a little bit more, or, you know, come together, I should say. I don't know if you can see that. Probably a little teeny tiny bit, maybe. I don't want to. Okay, I'm adding my meatballs to my sauce here, and as I'm adding them, I'm going to slightly just push them down into the sauce so they can be covered with the sauce here. Just kind of lightly pushing them in. Yeah. And we're just going to lightly push them down in. And then we're going to add the next group here. And just lightly do the same with them. Just add them and lightly push them down in. And eventually they do as they cook down, or, you know, they will move down to the bottom. And there we go. This one fell apart a little bit. Going out and buying your package of meatballs from the store, why don't you give this recipe a try? And if you're a hunter or you have access to venison, use venison instead and see how you like them that way too. I'm sure they're going to be delicious. I can just tell by looking at them. And my husband's going to like them. So, and the grape jelly meatball, venison grape jelly meatballs are good for any game or any gathering, or my husband likes to eat them just as a snack. I put them on for him during the day, and he'll just grab meatballs as the day goes on. So that's what he likes to do. But I hope you try this recipe. I hope it caught your attention, and I hope you use the venison if you're a hunter, or if you have access to the venison